you think that comes from your, we'll say, lack of playing experience, or the fact that America, or the U.S. is kind of new to the rugby game in general, or both?
Well, I think those go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Um, for one, like when I played club rugby, like there wasn't any of these set plays or these special, set pieces that
Hmm.
I had to memorize. It's kind of just go with the flow, just run around in the corner, run around the corner and keep picking up the ball and keep trying to get
Yeah.
far as you possibly can.
Hmm.
Um, but when I got to Boston, it was like, all right, we're gonna run this play. You're gonna go here. Your responsibility is this. This is your job. And I was like very like mentally overwhelmed because I was like, this is not the game that I thought, I
Hmm.
knew how to play. So I would say that's probably like my biggest setback. Just the mental side of the game was, understanding where I'm supposed to be when the ball is halfway on the other side of the field.
Hmm.
Where am I supposed to be moving to? What am I supposed to be looking for?
Yeah.
So I would say that probably. And I think that goes with, not having the exposure for, Americans. Like it's not like you can go out and just see rugby being played, you know,
Yeah.
here and there.
You think that is that the biggest difference between you and the other guys? It's not so much physical; it's more the mental side, like the tactical side.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely say that just because, you know, when I was over in New Zealand, like they always talked about how, America's got the athletes, they have the infrastructure, they have like the knowledge of how to build these incredible, specimens. I mean, like you look at the NFL, you look at like college football, like
Yeah.
those guys, they eat, sleep, and breathe football and like strength conditioning and whatnot.
Yeah.
When I was over in New Zealand, like the professional team only had 2 days in the gym, which for me, like coming from America, I thought that was absurd.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
No, so that was the thing. I was like, all right, so like these guys are like, I don't know how they got their size. That means they're all natural or something. Like I don't know what that was, but the other fold of it was, you're playing probably or arguably the most physical game in the world. Your body
Hmm.
needs time to recover.
Yeah.
So, without recovery, obviously, you're not gonna be able to perform on game day or, be able to perform in practice, let alone. So it was interesting to talk to guys who came from like European clubs or, were doing sports science in New Zealand and like speaking
Hmm.
to all the physios over there. So, that was an interesting side of it because it was for me, like when I came up to Boston, like I was considered small for my size. Like I came up at like 220.
Hmm.
And for a prop, your usual size is, you're 6 foot, like 260 to 270, being able to get around the park and, run, do all this
Hmm.
other stuff.
Yeah.
So 2019, like that whole season, like I put on 40 pounds and I can tell you it wasn't all muscle. Like a lot of it was fat and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I credit that to spending probably, 3 hours in the gym every day. Whereas over there, it was just a totally different world.
That's a ton. So eventually, are you going to try and get to one of these overseas leagues, whether it's Europe or New Zealand or wherever?
Yeah. I mean, 100% that's the goal. I think right now it's kind of just, as guys start to come over, hopefully the league will get more exposure and I can somehow make my way over there. I mean, that's the dream and that's the goal.
Well, that would be the ideal thing, wouldn't it? So, I want to get back a little bit to how you got into rugby because we were talking before, and obviously you only played for the 3 years, and so you're a wrestler, a football player, and lacrosse. I think were the ones that
Yeah.
you said.
Hmm.
So that was in high school, and then you were going into college for lacrosse.
Across.
And what made you kind of make that switch, or how did you end up stopping lacrosse and then saying, "Hey, I don't, maybe this is not for me." How did that kind of happen?
Well, I think I did like the classic mistake of, coming out of high school. I didn't really know where I wanted to go. Um, Let me take that back. So, like, obviously, as a high schooler, I think, a pretty common piece of advice told to you is choose a school that you would also enjoy academically and not just for sports.
Yeah.
So I made that mistake and I went to a small D3 school in Virginia called Christopher Newport University for lacrosse. And I had torn my hamstring my senior year of high school. So I sat out most of my senior year, tried to get back into it the second half of the season, kept like pulling it or whatever, tweaking it and whatnot. I showed up to CNU still with like a bum leg basically. tried to go through the fall preseason and like fall ball with like a bum hamstring, like redid it, like
Hmm.
retore it. And when I kind of like had this moment of like realization of like, okay, well, I'm not enjoying lacrosse. Like I'm not getting along with, what I want to be doing. I can't even declare for my major, um, just because it was such a small school and like the accounting program there was, very small and
Hmm.
finite to what you had available. I kind of just was like, all right, like I made the mistake of, not choosing it academically.
Hmm.
So that's when I transferred to Virginia Commonwealth University and had like a rough transition over there. Basically shoved this campus, had no friends over there. Was basically, alone in this big campus with 40,000 students.
Yeah, in the
And
middle of a city, no less.
yeah, so I tried to figure out, first like a friend group, social life and whatnot. So I think I spent too much time trying to figure that out and obviously lacked that in studies. So
Hmm.
pretty common mistake, I think, or I want to believe. Um, Pissed off my mom pretty badly. She sent me out to a boot camp with my uncle out in Colorado, which praise him for taking me in, kind of whipped me back into shape. You
Hmm.
know, that was honestly the summer of hell. I worked 3 jobs to basically pay for my tuition coming back because my mom was like, I'm not paying for your education if you're not going to take it seriously. And at that moment, I was like, all right, well, crap, now I got to figure out how I can work to
Yeah.
make, what was it, like $8,000 in 3 months?
Hmm.
And I was like, there's no way. And my uncle was like, well, we can come out here in Colorado and like you'll have good weather, but you'll be working every day. So you won't get to enjoy any of it, but you'll have your tuition when you come back. So I was like, why not? Went out there, basically, literally just worked. Like I didn't have any friends out there either. And when I came back to school, things settled down, made friends and blah, blah, blah. Got my grades back into shape. I enjoyed, the scenery and, getting away from life in Virginia on the East Coast.
Hmm.
So I went back out to Colorado for a second summer. And obviously with like better grades and whatnot, I wasn't in boot camp. I was more of, you know, just come out here and experience your summer and work.
Yeah.
And I got hooked up with like a local landscaping crew, um, just because it was one of the jobs I worked the previous summer. And the guys there were like, "Oh, we play on this local club team. It's more of a social thing. Like we think that you'd really enjoy it. Blah blah blah. Plus, you got the size, and we need a prop." So basically, I recruited to go be whatever it was. Like I had no idea what the position was, but I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. If there's beer involved, like I'll join." And pretty much from there, the rest was history. Like the guys were phenomenal. Like some of them are still like my best friends I would consider today, and I
That's
just really
awesome.
loved being a part of like that tight knit culture.
Hmm.
And um, that was just like the rest was history from there. I was like, all right, this is a sport for me. Like these people are great, and you know that's pretty much how I got involved.
That's awesome. So